Breaking news. One person is dead after being shot in Providence tonight. That shooting happening on Charles Street, right by the on-ramp for 95 North by the Sunoco gas station. Detectives on scene investigating tell us that victim was taken to the hospital but later died from their injuries. Our news crews on scene observed about a dozen shell casings on the street, and no arrests have been made at this time. And officers on scene were not able to provide any vehicle or suspect description, calling it an ongoing investigation. And we now want to turn to our other top story that we've been following along all weekend. That winter weather we've missed out on for most of this winter, now getting set to make its way across southern New England. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight for ABC 6 News 11 at 11. I'm Yanni Trigel. So we want to get you over to meteorologist Bill Guile with a look at that forecast and what we can expect over these next 24 hours or so, Bill.
Yeah, things are going to be changing around. We're going to be getting into a winter storm during the course of the day today, though. We had a lot of clouds around to start the morning off, a few flurries at midday, then breaks the sun for the afternoon. Temperatures got into the mid-30s, and then we had a couple of light flurries go by this evening. There's one more round trying to come down from the northward colder air that's working its way in, but that, of course, is not the main event, nor is this area of snow coming off the Great Lakes, and basically that's going to be drying up overnight tonight. The main culprit is way back here, but it's racing off to the east-northeast now. It's situated over Nebraska and Kansas. That's what's going to be moving in for tomorrow night, and it's going to be lasting on into a Tuesday. But temperatures tonight with the partially clearing sky will settle back to the mid-20s region-wide. Heading off to the bus stop tomorrow morning, sunny but cold with temperatures in the mid-20s. Coming home, we'll be in the upper or mid to upper 30s, right around 37 degrees. But clouds will be on the increase, getting ready for the snow to come in. But the evening commute is going to be fine. We'll get through that whole commute before any snowflakes arrive. It's to Tuesday morning commute that's going to be the problem with dealing with quite a bit of snow around much of the area. Certainly looks to be a plowable snow event for most all of Rhode Island. The moderate to heavy snow bands look to be setting up after midnight into early Tuesday, and the bulk of the snowfall is really all going to occur by noontime on Tuesday. So let me give you a quick view as what's coming in for tomorrow evening. The clouds will be in place at the dinner time, so we're okay. But our temperatures cool back to the upper 20s, and between 9 and 11 o'clock, we'll start getting into some snowfall. It'll be light all the way through midnight, and then watch some of these darker shades of blue beginning to show up, especially to the south. These are the pockets of moderate, maybe even briefly heavy snow. So we're talking about snowfall rates increasing to about an inch, maybe an inch and a half per hour at times. And the temperatures basically right around 28 to 30 degrees. So that's going to hold there for most of the overnight. As we get towards daybreak, into the start of the morning commute, it's still snowing, but beginning to ease up a little bit. A lot of the energy is going to start transferring off the coast. There will be some mixing right along the coast, perhaps, as well. Look at the temperature structure right along the coastline, 37 to 39 degrees. Now, that might be a couple of degrees too high, but nonetheless enough to perhaps get some mixing. So that'll keep snow totals down in this region. And even Providence, 36, that might be a degree higher too as well. But everything is going to be winding down through the afternoon and tomorrow evening, and we're done by this time tomorrow night. So snow totals, generally looking at 4 to 6 inches for much of Providence, although as you get up to Foster, Borough, Gloucester area, maybe Coventry, we could see a 7th inch. If you're down along the south coast, westerly to Narragansett, over to Newport, and around Tiverton, Little Compton to New Bedford, about 3 inches will do it. Again, some mixing here will hold these numbers down. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to take a more detailed look at this forecast, everything you need to know about it and what's going to happen afterwards. Yanni.
All right, thanks, Bill. We will be sure to check back in. Well, turning now to an ABC 6 news update. Ongoing issues in Pawtucket with the Winters Elementary School. The school was scheduled to reopen tomorrow after a pipe burst earlier this month, but will now remain closed for the foreseeable future after another pipe burst last night, causing even more damage to the school.
But out of abundance of caution, we are going to have school canceled tomorrow, Monday.
Just weeks after Henry J. Winters Elementary School was closed following a pipe burst from Arctic cold temperatures, the Pawtucket school's reopening put back on hold after school officials say another heating coil burst sometime Saturday night.
We regret that this has happened. This is something beyond our control, but we will get it fixed, and we will not have our students here until they are safe and secure.
Winters Elementary set to reopen Monday after students missed 2 weeks of in-person learning and were now set to return from winter break. Instead, students will stay home and continue to learn virtually as they have most of this month.
Where in the designs could have made this happen, and what can we do to fix it so it doesn't happen again?
This weekend's damage is less severe, the school says, but it's the latest in a number of issues with the brand new elementary school that just opened last September. Back in September, the start of school delayed 6 days following a failed fire alarm battery test during final inspections of the new school. Then, during the Arctic blast that brought negative wind chill temperatures, a burst heating coil causing 23 classrooms to suffer severe water damage. And now the latest in the ongoing problem with the school, another pipe burst, shooting out hot water at about 135 degrees. School officials say they're lucky no students and staff were in the building when this happened and are now investigating these two most recent incidents.
We're going to find all that stuff out. Responsibility will be handed out. But for today, it's about getting the job done and to make sure that we have something prepared. We have a plan going forward for the students, the staff, and the community.
And school officials tell us they are working to get students back into the classroom as quickly as possible, whether that be at Winters or elsewhere. And any families that need lunch service tomorrow can contact the district office for pickup. Well, new tonight on 11 at 11, a fire in a 5-story apartment complex in Fairhaven has left 2 families displaced tonight. According to Fairhaven Fire Chief Todd Correa, crews were called to the elderly apartment complex around 4 this afternoon and found smoke filling a hallway on the 3rd floor and then a single unit on fire. Now, nobody living in that building was hurt, but one officer was taken to St. Luke's Hospital to be treated for minor injuries after being hit in the head by debris.
On arrival, we had a report of smoke in the hallway on 3rd floor. Crews made entry and found a room and contents fire inside that unit. The fire was quickly extinguished. The fire right now is currently under investigation by the Massachusetts State Police and the local police.
And the Red Cross is assisting the 2 families displaced. Crews remained on scene working to get the other apartment units cleared of any smoke for people to be able to go back inside. And an 84-year-old man is dealing with life-threatening injuries after being hit by a car in Easton tonight. According to the Easton Police Department, the man was crossing Foundry Street when he was hit by a car traveling westbound and then was taken to the Good Samaritan Hospital with those serious injuries. The Massachusetts State Police Crash Division is conducting a crash investigation at this time. Turning now to political news, the snowy forecast Tuesday could impact Attleboro's mayor election. Sun Chronicle reporting city officials will meet Monday to decide if Tuesday's election should be postponed. The public is invited to that meeting at 9:30 Monday morning inside City Hall's 1st floor conference room. Now, there are 4 candidates vying for the seat vacated by now Bristol County Sheriff Paul Heroux, and Acting Mayor Jay Delisio is among those running. Now to some other news making headlines around the weekend. 2 people are displaced after a house fire in Pawtucket last night. One firefighter got debris in his eye while fighting this fire, but was treated on scene and remained on scene. Fire crews arrived at just after 7 p.m. to Carter Ave, and we're told this fire, it started in the basement and it spread all through the walls of the home. Firefighters dealing with several factors Saturday night that made things more difficult, including the cold temperatures, snow, and low-hanging wires.
It always is, yeah, especially when it starts in the basement. You kind of chase it around the house most of the time. It looks like they're still trying to chase it now a little bit, but that was the challenge.
And the cause of that fire is still under investigation. Well, as the war in Ukraine entered its 2nd year this weekend, Ukrainian soldiers are locked in a battle with Russian troops to hold the eastern city of Bakhmut. Here's ABC's Patrick Reevell with the latest from Kyiv.
As the war in Ukraine enters its 2nd year, there is a growing diplomatic clash between China and Western countries. At the G20 on Sunday, China siding with Russia and refusing to sign a joint statement condemning the war. The Biden administration has warned that China is weighing whether to provide Russia with lethal aid to use in Ukraine. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on ABC's This Week saying the White House doesn't believe China has done so yet.
We know they haven't taken it off the table, and we are sending a clear message, as are our European allies, that this would be a real mistake because those weapons would be used to bombard cities and kill civilians, and China should want no part of that.
Ukraine locked in a desperate fight to hold the key eastern city of Bakhmut as Russian forces claim to be advancing. According to Ukrainian troops on the ground, both sides are believed to have suffered thousands of casualties. These men are training before returning to the fight in Bakhmut. Some are from Crimea. Tatars, a Muslim minority persecuted there by Russia.
In your view, do you think it's possible for Ukraine to retake Crimea?
Да, конечно, дело времени.
It's a question of time.
Да.
As the war continues, Russia this weekend shut down its largest oil pipeline to Poland, one day after Poland delivered the first Western Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. Vladimir Klitschko, former heavyweight boxer and brother of Kyiv's mayor, thanking the West for their support.
Thank you, Germany. Thank you, the free world, for all what you do for us, Ukrainians.
These modern Leopards, an upgrade from the Soviet-era tanks Ukraine troops have been using, intended to help Ukraine prepare for a spring offensive. Patrick Reevell, ABC News, Kyiv.
And still to come on ABC 6 News 11 at 11, the Department of Energy says the COVID-19 pandemic most likely came from a lab leak in China. More on its latest assessment. Plus, a strong winter storm sweeping across the country, putting millions of Americans on high alert for potentially life-threatening wind or wintry weather.